Well, hello. You're here with Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show, and my guest today is Kayla Klug Johnson, who comes to us from the small town of Odin, Kansas. Kayla and 7 of her fellow classmates were featured in the New York Times on July 23rd for being the inaugural class of medical students in what's being billed as the smallest 4-year medical school in the nation. Kayla is a student of the new University of Kansas Medical School here in Salina. Welcome, Kayla.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, you've had some press going on. What happened with the New York Times? Did they call you, or how did that interview take place? Because you were actually quoted in that article.
Actually, originally I thought they were just going to interview us over the phone, but first day of orientation they were there taking lots of pictures and interviewing a lot of different students. It was crazy.
So they actually came in here to Salina from New York to how many people were there? Was there a crew? Were there any cameras?
There was just 2, a camera and the writer.
And the writer?
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. I bet all of your students, because I know they had a really nice picture of all of you there in one of the hallways at the hospital. Was that at the hospital?
Actually, it was in the new Braddock building.
Oh, that's right, in your new building with your new school. So. So at what point are you? Are you just going through orientation this week? Is that what's going on?
Yes, we have 2 more days of, or 1 more day of orientation, then white coat ceremonies tomorrow, and then first day is Monday.
Well, that white coat ceremony is going to be pretty special for you. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but I know we get our white coats for the first time. All like the head people of the KU, we get to meet up with the Kansas City and Wichita classmates, so that'll be neat seeing everyone.
Now, is that going to be here in Salina, or are you going to have to go up to the KU campus in Kansas City?
We go up to the KU campus in Kansas City.
Right, because I've actually attended that. My stepdaughter is a 3rd-year KU medical student, and that was a very big deal for her and for all those students. In fact, at that time, there were 3 in her class from Salina who were getting their white coats at the same time, so that was pretty exciting. And one of those, of course, Dr. Cathcart-Rake is your director, and he was up there at that time, and Dr. Trent Davis, and then my husband is Dr. Joan Jerkovich. And someone had mentioned there were so many Salina doctors up there at that white coat ceremony. They said, who's taking care of the Salina people? So, and I'm going to tell our guests that I have a real exciting guest for the second half of this segment today, and that's going to be an Indian shaman. So it's almost like we're going from traditional medicine, where Kayla's starting out as a brand new medical student, to ancient medicine. So it could, not that we're going to talk so much medicine with her, but it could be a real interesting show, so we want you to stay tuned. Well, I have to say, one of the reasons I was also so excited to have you on, Kayla, is because, of course, I'm from Hoisington. And when we talked and first met, and you're from Odin, we're hometown girls. I mean, so I would love to do a little hometown thing here. So tell me who your folks are and some of the things you do there in the big town of Odin.
My parents are Bill and Joan Klug. I grew up in a big family. I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and if you are familiar with Odin, most of the area is Klugs and family related to me. Odin, I think you find lots of ways to entertain yourself. I mean, we have the store, which is the bar, the grocery, the gas, whatever you need.
Well, and every small town has to have the bar. I mean, the bar is like the local place, because ours is the tap room in Hoisington, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odin store's pretty famous, I think, for bar needs.
Odin is, you said?
Yes. A lot of people have heard of Odin because of the store.
Well, I know, and I know that's how my family, in fact, I had to call my dad, Victor Hoffman, there in Hoisington, and of course, we talked, all my Hoffman cousins, my cousin Brian and a lot of his kids, and my nephew Eric Hoffman, who actually just went back to be a farmer. He was actually teaching math, but now he's back in town. And I said, Eric, I'm going to have you on my show in 6 months, see how it's going. A new young professional came back to be a farmer. And but is actually the Odin population 101, like it said in the article?
I'm not actually.
Who even counted that?
I don't know where he got that number. I'm guessing that's about right. That's what we always kind of joke. It's only 100, but I don't really.
They gave you an extra person.
I'm not sure where we got the number.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty fun. And so it sounded like in your quote, at least, that you said in the New York Times, or in the right, the New York Times, that it was saying that you were very excited about getting to study medicine in a smaller community. Tell me a little bit about your thought process going into choosing Salina to study at.
I think Salina is going to start me out with like more rural experiences. It's more like Kansas City would be great too, but I realized that this is more pertains to more what I'm going into in the future, so I like that aspect of it. In the smaller class setting, I mean, I went to Claflin, small class, went to Fort Hayes, small class sizes.
Right.
So I'm comfortable with that.
Right, exactly. And then was some of this also kind of, you know, being comfortable studying in a smaller community instead of having to move to Kansas City, of course. But was some of it also somehow leading you into the feeling of, I do really maybe when I get out of school want to practice in a smaller town?
Of course, definitely.
Do you really feel that way?
It's a future goal, yes.
Well, that's exciting. That's exciting. And tell me about yourself as a little girl. Were you the little girl that played, you know, played with animals or something that made you kind of always wanting to take care of them or something? What led you to medicine?
I was a little girl that was very accident prone
no.
played lots of sports, so I guess like through all my, I played college basketball, so I had a lot of sports injuries, and I think through all that I ended up getting very interested in medicine.
Well, of course, because you yourself then saw a lot of doctors, saw them taking care of you, and kind of, I'm sure, you know, you were kind of watching the process and assimilating some of what they did. Because, well, I know when I grew up on the farm, we had to work the cattle, and that got me interested, just like you in your situation with some of your sports injuries, got me interested in nursing. And that's, you know, I'm actually a registered nurse and still have my license today, but why am I doing a radio show? Go figure. So with all of that, at what point or at what age would you say you kind of started really thinking about going into medicine?
I actually didn't like for sure settle down on medicine until the beginning of my sophomore year of college. I kind of floated around a bunch of different fields. In the back of my mind, I think I knew that some type of medicine field is where I belong, but it took me a while to completely decide what I was going to pursue.
Well, that's pretty common course where you have, you know, a couple years of college, get a lot of the prerequisites out of the way, and before you decide, you know, what you want to do. You know, so that little spark might have come in, you know, about your sophomore year, you said, in college?
Yes.
And was that, tell me more about that. Was that something that, you know, kind of what was going on in your head? Because I know from the fact that, you know, my stepdaughter's going through this and her husband's a doctor and my husband being a doctor, it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not. It's just a lot of stuff you have to do, even getting into medical schools, lots of preparation. I haven't even began the rigors of medical schools, but when I first thought about it, I knew I needed to like spend some time in some shadowing experiences and really see for myself if I was going to be comfortable with the whole medical process. So my first experience shadowing, I came home, it was a really long day because it was general surgery, but I just knew like it was what I wanted to do. Yep.
So who did you shadow? Was it someone in the Hoisington Great Bend area or something? Or
Dr. Robin Durrett at Claire Barton, I shadowed him that day.
Oh, okay.
He's awesome. So.
Oh, is he still there then, practicing? And he's a general surgeon, you said?
Yes.
What sort of cases did you see and do that day? Because that seemed like a pivotal part of you maybe making the decision too.
Lots of different scopes, and it was a while ago, and I've been with him a few times since. I don't really remember the exact surgeries, but most of the basic.
So even that very first day, you were actually in some of those procedures and in those surgeries, and you didn't like faint or pass out? You might have felt like it.
Always the first one. I forget how to breathe with the mask on a little bit sometimes, but no, thank God I haven't passed out yet.
Well, that's a good sign that you're well on the road to becoming a doctor, because I have to say that I kind of got that sense with my stepdaughter Adria when she came out to the family farm for the big annual pheasant hunt. and all my brothers and of course Eric, you know, and my nephews Nathan and Ryan, and they were all there, and my brother Alan Hoffman, and they all do the big hunt, and then of course the thing is that they come back with the pheasants and they have to clean them. We women years ago got smart enough to say, you shoot it, you clean it, you know, we usually will cook it or someone in the family. But she was in there dissecting this pheasant. And of course my brothers, who never had any of us ladies come around to help, you know, clean these birds, thought that was pretty fascinating. And she's like, well, what, you know, what is this organ and what is that? And she just had her hands in there. And it's kind of a family legend right now because we have a lot of fun talking about the time Adria had to go dissect the pheasants. But did you grow up on a farm actually, or were you actually in the city, the big city of Odin?
Oh, I was actually in the big city of Odin, so no farm girl for me.
And what kind of things do your folks do as far as, you know, there's just so much farm industry. Do they work in that area or in agriculture?
My dad works for One Oak, the gas company, and my mom was a teacher at Claflin.
Okay, well great, because obviously we still have, you know, the need for teachers. And what did she teach?
She has taught a lot of different things. She taught me biology, she's done PE, but she's really mainly a math teacher.
Oh, so she's multi-talented.
Oh, yes.
She teaches a lot of different things,
Mm-hmm.
right. But now they grew up there as well. Is your dad originally from the Odin area?
Yep.
Okay, and your mom's from where?
She's from Claflin.
She's from Claflin, right. So, you know, just they went off, and she obviously got an education, and then they come back to the big town. And
Yep.
now I bet when you were growing up, Kayla, you couldn't get away with anything.
You know, I never really tried to. I was talking to some of my classmates. I think if I wanted to, I probably could have, because my parents were pretty trusting, but...
Oh, but because they knew the whole town was
yeah,
looking
it's
out
not
for
really,
you.
I have like uncles on every street.
Absolutely, that's what I was going to say. You had to have cousins or family or something, like, you know, 2 doors down, or, you know, all across the town. Because I didn't actually know when I first met you. Of course, I met you by your married name of Johnson. And tell me about your husband. Tell me, how long have you been married?
We have been married for almost 2 months. His name is JD.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I didn't realize you were such newlyweds.
Yeah, we just got married this
Yeah.
summer, so changing your name and trying to get all your medical school stuff figured out is fun. He is from Utica, Kansas, also a very small town. He says it's bigger than Odin. I don't know.
You've been there, I'm sure, though, right?
Yes, I have been there.
Okay.
He is a teacher. He will be teaching at St. John's Military Academy this upcoming year. We're excited.
And how long have you two been dating or together?
I'm pretty sure we met my sophomore year of college, about the same time I was deciding what I was going to do as a career.
Because it's a big decision for him as well, and for the two of you as a couple, because, you know, when I met him the other night, we were at the dinner at Gary and Marianne Weiner's house, inaugurating, or for the whole inaugural class at the new KU Medicine School of Medicine here in Salina. And, you know, it's a big commitment for him, you know, so the two of you made the decision together.
Yes, and he was also another big part of why I wanted to come to Salina, because he, like me, doesn't really have any desire to be in a large city, and it was kind of scary uprooting him from his job. He had a job in Deerfield, and I know he really liked it, but we wanted to live together, obviously.
Well,
so.
yeah, exactly. Well, big commitment. You guys are headed down. We're going to take a little bit of a break here with Kayla, and then we'll get back. And this is Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show. We'll go to our second segment.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Let me save this down, Joe.
Threw me off a little bit because I think my dad said your mom was Leon. So that's an uncle?
You know, I'm not sure.
Or, you know, he could have been Lois.
What Lois?
Leon and Lois.
Yeah,
They might have had you mixed up by somebody else.
They're a little
So they'll
older
see
than
this on the
me.
video. Bad dad, bad dad. No, but he was talking about how, and they might be older than your folks, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
those guys.
Now,
Can't
then
remember.
your aunt isn't Bonnie Schramer?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because that kind of threw me a little bit. I had to get my head
Did
around
you
that.
get some
'cause
bad information,
I
Joe?
got some wrong. I called my mom and dad back home. I said, I'm going to interview this little Kayla from Odin in our new medical school, and they gave you all this information.
But not the right girl.
Not the right girl. Did you ever...